So this operation that I planned for, guys, that brief that I had to give is like an hour long. It took me a couple of days to plan everything. There's a lot of moving parts. I had to coordinate with a lot of different people. Right? And literally, as we were leaving, the whole plan changed. Right? And I was like, man, that's a little frustrating. But because we had put the planning and preparation in, we were able to still be successful. Okay? I'm sure if you go through on most of those tests you take, and I'm not saying right, but most of them. But most of the tests you take, right? Maybe you don't know the answer to one of the questions, but as you go through, you can maybe figure it out. Maybe you can recall something because you prepared. I will promise you that you'll always do much better if you prepare than if you don't. So practice and planning actually do play a role, even if it doesn't directly correlate with the answer that you're looking for at the time. Okay. This is a funny story. I'm going to share it with you guys, and then I'll tell you about how to think outside the box or to use the box. Okay? So, a group of my guys, right? We were in the middle of nowhere in the Middle East. And we stopped getting food. So we were living off what's called MREs. Okay? After a few months living off MREs, though, your body starts to like shut down for real. And you can't eat them anymore. And so we procured some meat. Okay? And we found all these boxes. So we found an old metal box, which was in the middle, picture on the bottom. And we cut it up and made another one. Okay? We found all these structures that we broke down. Okay? And we used the wood from those. We essentially created an oven and started cooking this stuff. And then we found another box to put all the meat in, that left picture. And we just literally hand-did out steaks to everybody. Okay? We were hungry, we needed to eat some food, and we had all these boxes, both cardboard and metal, and we found a way to use them. So we had guys who thought outside the box. Instead of just being miserable in our circumstance, we found a way to make it positive and to better our situation. I think a lot of times in life, guys, we're boxed in. Right? This is the way that things have to work. This is the lot that I've been given. Right? This is my box. I can't do anything outside of prescribed usage for it. That's not true. Find a way to think outside the box. Find a way to use resources or use people around you that you have access to. Just find ways to be creative. I'm going to tell you guys a secret. I'm not a very creative person. Okay? I took a test in high school and I had zero creativity. You're like, you have none. Right? I know that about myself. I think I've gotten a little bit better. Okay? But I surrounded myself with people who are creative. That has allowed me to get different ideas. So if I were to stay in my box and my own thoughts all the time, I would fail at a lot of things. Right? So because I've been able to find people who are better at the things that I'm not, I've been able to better my situation, especially more than I would be able to do on my own. That's why I encourage you to find and think outside the box. Okay, and that goes right to the last point, guys. Learn from the people around you. Okay? The picture on the left is a picture of me and my guys overseas. The picture on the right is a picture of my wife and her kid in training exercise. Okay? But basically, in my picture, I have a mechanical engineer. Okay? I have people from probably 40 to 50 states. Let's see what else I had. I had 2 actual certified chefs who were like full-on chefs before they came in. I had a lot of people out of high school. I had 1 kid from the Dominican Republic. So I have people from all over the world with a bunch of different skill sets. That's my point, right? People around you know more about a lot of things than you do because they've experienced it or they've lived it. Use them, right? In this room right here, right? You guys in the classroom in your houses, right? You have people who come from all walks of life, who are better in different subjects than you, who have different experiences that they can share. Learn to ask questions. Learn to talk to people. And take advantage of the people around you. If you don't get outside your bubble, you're never going to learn and kind of think outside that box mentality, right? And use those resources that are available to you. So I encourage you guys to do those things. Okay, these next couple slides, I'm going to transition into, okay, just kind of reflections that I've had about Bethany State or my service. I got to do some really cool things, okay? And we did it on purpose, right? So this picture on the left is actually my wife, who's in a New York unit, and so that's them flying downtown in New York, okay? Super cool picture, the Black Hawk, like, that's cool, okay? The middle picture, we got doing a training exercise, and we got all this colored smoke. So my guys were like, hey, we can take a really cool picture, right? I was like, I think you're right. They popped all the smoke behind them, and they tried to strike the coolest pose they could, okay? And they came up with that picture, and that's what they sent home, and like, we're at war, right? So it's really cool. And then the picture on the right, okay, if you look behind us, there's nothing, okay? I'm on a 2-story roof, and there's nothing, okay? 360, around that whole position, you can see nothing. There's not a single terrain feature or landmark. We're just dudes in the middle of nowhere, okay? And we thought it was super cool, so we took a cool that picture. Okay? Stood on top of the roof, crossed our arms, smiled a little bit, knocked our glasses, and felt cool. Okay? So we took advantage of those things, and I was able to do some cool things, some cool people in situations like, you know, I would never be able to take a picture like this thing. Like, I would never have red smoke just hanging out of my garage like a picture like this. I know my wife doesn't have a Black Hawk or the ability to fly here. But we were able to take advantage of these opportunities that were afforded to us through the military. So that is pretty cool. We got to do a lot of cool stuff. Okay? The picture on the top left is my wife shooting a 50 cal truck. She, as a helicopter pilot, will never touch an actual weapon. Okay? But she's still got a 50 cal truck. So that's pretty cool. Right? She had fun doing that. I really wish you guys could see the bottom picture. So you can see the mortar coming out of the tube, right? Yeah. So there's one behind it, where you can also see the mortar coming out of the tube at the same time. I don't know how we captured both of them at the same time. It was pretty cool. But yeah, we got sleeping and handsome mortars, and that's pretty cool. The bottom right picture is just the 10 I had overseas. Okay? There's a bunch of rockets, and this is what that is. We got to play with all of them. And then the top right picture is how we had fun with some of our grenades. Okay? Most of our grenades we named personally and got creative with them. So that was just Ariana grenade is one of the names that we had. Guys, you make some of the most amazing friends, okay, in the service. Because you go through situations that you otherwise limit. Sometimes, right, friendship is forged, and that oftentimes happens in the military. So I'm extremely grateful for the friends that I have here. So the picture on the left is my wife and her friend Matt. Okay, they went to flight school together. And again, flight school is a company or school. It's extremely academic oriented. If you're not flying, you're studying. And I know for months, they're studying 10, 12 hours a day together. They're studying through the night. Right? They're working super hard to get a good practice. And they became great friends through that. Because when you're studying that much, you spend that much time together. One, you run out of normal things to talk about. You talk about great stuff. You get to know people at a very intimate level. Okay? You also suffer together. And you get to celebrate when the other person does well. So for them studying for flight school, they have big tests that they come up with. Right? So if they're studying together, they're invested. They want to know that they're good study buddy as well. So as they succeeded together and as they continued work their way through the school, they were able to be very happy for each other. And so that created a lifelong friendship for me. Okay? The next picture is me and my buddy Abu. Okay? So for Abu and myself, right, we were able to go through a lot of life together. Okay? So not just the military. But I will tell you that we went through basic training together. We went through OCS, so we became officers together. We went through infantry officer school together. We went through airborne school together. We went through ranger school together. And Tracker Big Force, that's where he was popping his head out the bottom of that truck. Okay. During that time, life was happening too. I had life-changing events happen that time, and he was there to support me. He had things change in his life, back home, right, that were affecting him a lot. And I was able to support him as we were still doing all our stuff in the military. And we forged a friendship. Now, I need to preface this, right? He's one of my best friends in the world. And we competed at everything we did. Right? If we were racing each other, I was doing whatever I could to beat him. Right? We were working out together. I would put on 2.5-pound weights on the side of the bar just to beat him. Right? And we forced and pushed each other, right? And out of my entire class of people, right, on the opposite side, of my entire infantry officer class, we were the only two who served in the special operations. Okay? He pushed me and I pushed him, and we became better, and that forged a friendship. Right? And made us better people. So I'm always grateful for him. The picture on the right is my wife with one of her instructor pilots. Now, this is not a typical friendship, right? Because he's essentially a teacher. But you took time and invested in her as a pilot. Right? He asked her, or he gave her guidance on what to study and how to be better after her job. And because of that, right, she was able to make an amazing friend with somebody who now is a great mentor. So you don't always know who you're going to meet or when, if you're going to be friends or not, because that was an unlikely friendship that now exists. It's extremely beneficial and a great time. And the picture on the right, okay, that's me with my platoon sergeant. We both were drastically unprepared for our job at this time. And so we spent a lot of late nights together, a lot of time on the phone, preparing for deployment. We're actually on the deployment now, but we spent a lot of time together just trying to figure out what we're supposed to do to take care of our guys. And I have nothing but love and respect for them. And that came through our struggles together. Okay. This is probably maybe an unpopular opinion, but war can be fun. Okay. I signed up when I was going to the military to go to war. That was my thought process, and I knew that was part of what I was doing. If you look at each of these pictures, we got smiley dudes. You can't see us in the gas mask, okay? But we have happy, smiley people. Because we were happy to do our jobs. Now, some of it's probably a little bit like, hey, I can't believe we survived, we're a little happy about that. Okay. But we did have fun. It wasn't just grueling, it wasn't all miserable. We found time to have a lot of fun, and I'm grateful for Insight and people to take pictures so I can remember these moments. The one I'll highlight is just the one in the middle where you see the two heads hooked up. Right? That was literally in the middle of a pretty serious conflict. Everything behind us is on fire. Okay? Tensions are high, we're directing a lot of different things. And, okay, sorry, I backtracked a little bit. Okay. Go back like a day or so. Okay, I show up, right, we get this call, they're like, hey, we need you guys' help, we need to protect this area. So my guys and I show up, right, and lo and behold, I see this guy. This guy was my basic training bunkmate. Literally shared a bed in basic training. He's just there in the middle of nowhere in the Middle East, right? And I was like, how are you doing? And one of the person who was with us at the time was a very senior enlisted guy, somebody that we both respected very much. And he thought it was super cool that we were hanging out and we got to see each other and had no plans of doing so. Okay, now fast forward. Next day, everything's burning, everything's on fire, we're running. Okay? This senior enlisted mentor for both of us literally saw this, he goes, hey, stop. Let me take this picture. And then literally, like, we stopped, we posed, took the picture, and then we kept running. I am forever grateful for that man's situational awareness and the moment that he took to pause and let us remember that moment. And it's something that we treasure. Now, and actually, the anniversary of this event was like last week. Okay? And my buddy there, he sent me this picture and he goes, what a great day. It was a great memory. And so I am truly grateful for that. But I had a lot of fun with doing what I did. And I know my wife enjoyed what she did as well. And so as we reflected and I think about that, I think about the people out there, but we did have a lot of fun. Okay, last stop. Okay? It was an absolute honor to serve with anybody who was willing to sacrifice for a better world. The pictures on the right are me meeting with different military and local figures. Okay? There are people in the Iraqi army, one's in charge of Iraqi special forces, and they were fighting for their country to be a better place. The picture on the top left is a couple of my guys and a couple of Iraqi soldiers searching trucks for bombs. Probably not the best way to do it. Okay? I was a little uncomfortable with the situation, but I know that they were trying to protect us. Right? And our guys went out there and helped them out. So I'm grateful for not just the people in the States who fight for freedom and a better way of life. I'm grateful for people around the world who fight for that, who literally take their own oaths, whether it's in this country or others, to protect people, to make the world better and safer for all of us. So I genuinely appreciate that, and that was a good reflection to how this veterans do for us. Guys, with that said, okay, the picture in the middle of my wife. School, all camera up. She would kill me for putting that picture on there. Put it on there. Yeah. That's my email address at the top. That's my wife's email address. Okay? And I'm going to open it up for Q&A at this time. So if you got anything that we talked about throughout, if you guys have any questions about military, about the Army specifically, I can dive into those things. But I wanted to give some time back if you guys want to ask questions. Anyway, so that school, basically you learn how to patrol well, how to fight at a basic level. That's where you don't need enough to. Okay? And what you get from that is, again, you get a tab. If you wear on any uniform you have, it'll say Ranger on it. So if you see somebody who has like yellow and black, little tab that says Ranger, that means they graduated from that school. And if you see somebody with them, you know somebody who graduated from that course, that means they don't know how to quit. This sounds very serious, so I'm going to say it anyway. I taught this course after I graduated from it. I went back to like that infantry officer school, and for a few months I had to teach the preparation course for this. And the best advice I get, there's a lot of people who study for it, there's a lot of people who do different things, but I would just say like, hey, go in ready to die, and if you know that you would rather die than quit, you'll pass. Right? Because I know a lot of people who have zero skills. They're physically like mediocre, right? But they did not know how to quit. And what that tab means, and what graduates from Ranger School means, is that if you're fighting with that person, they will not quit. And I promise you that you would take that over time any day. So that's important to understand. The other type of Ranger, right, is people in the 75th Ranger Regiment. That's a special operations unit. So that has a different selection process. So it's not a school, it's actually a selection. That selection process is called RASP. So if you pass what's called RASP, okay, it's Ranger Assessment and Selection Program. And if you graduate from that, then you can become a part of this unit that is a special operations unit. So those are the two different kinds. Most people think that you have to have both, even if you're Ranger. Does that answer your question? Yeah. No, it's pretty in-depth, but all right, any other questions? Yep.
What were the steps you took to get into the OSC thing?
OCS?
Yeah, OCS.
Good. So again, 3 different commissioning courses. OCS means that you graduate from college and you have a college degree and have not done anything with the military prior to that. So what that is it's an application, right? you do a physical assessment, so you go to do push-ups, sit-ups, run a couple miles, you take that into account, you write a few essays, and then you get a handful of recommendations. You submit that all, and then that goes to a board. If they like you, right, then they set up an in-person board. In that in-person board, you can have about 5 people, and it's about an hour long. They ask you a bunch of questions about yourself. If you pass that board, then you go to basic training, then you go to OCS. So that's pretty much how the process works. It took me to complete that process about 6 months to get accepted before I got like a shift date.
What's something that you think kids wanting to enlist should know or think about before they sign?
That's a great question. This is my personal opinion. Okay? And this kind of goes to my question. I have a couple of very close friends of mine who have asked very similar advice. And people need to understand that when they say this is a sacrifice or this is a service, that it is. You'll experience and go through things not just because of combat, not just because you're deploying or going to war, through the training, through the time away from home. You're going to miss holidays, you're going to miss births, you're going to miss weddings, you're going to miss funerals, and that causes conflict in relationships. You're not going to have the time to give back to sometimes your family. And that's something that you need to be aware of. Okay? At the same time, if your family's aware of that, and you know that, and you go and prepare, that could be the greatest time of your life. And you can grow your family. Through my time in the service, I was able to grow my family. I met people who will be my family for the rest of my life. So with that, it goes both ways, but it absolutely is a sacrifice, and you can understand that comes with the cost. Yeah.
So this is a question I think maybe you can help with some of the students here, have conversations with their parents about. My husband served 10 years Army, 3rd ID, 7th CAD. I'm assuming around the same time, OIF.
Yeah.
Like you, he went and enlisted to go to war, right? Because we were at war. But nowadays, it's a job. It's just a job. A job like every other job. And I think the stigma around it for allowing or, supporting their kids to enlist is that aspect of going to work. So I get a lot of questions from parents, like, I don't know, I don't want that for them, but I try to explain, it's just a job like any other job.
This is me speaking as me, right? So just take that for what it's worth. I do think that, for me, I see my time in the service as a job. It was my job. It was my occupation. It was something that it does cross over because it becomes everything in your life revolves around it. So it does change that a little bit, but it's still, in my mind, it's a job that it is for a while. Okay? There's very few people that actually go and see combat. So depending on the job that you choose, will depend on if you see combat. I would say, if you join a special operations unit, typically they find work. Okay? So Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Rangers, PJs, joining in those units, you're going to go find work. So you'll probably go to war. If that's what you want to do, you have to be at that caliber to go there and do that. If you don't want to do those things, a lot of people really never deploy. Or they deploy to places like, Puerto Rico, and going to go to the beach on the weekend, So there's actually a lot of perks. The military actually really can set you up with the GI Bill, right? If you don't know what that is, if you go and enlist out of high school, or even after, I have the GI Bill right now that I use for a master's degree. Okay? It pays you to go to school. That's a huge benefit of going in the military. It's a steady job. It gives you great health care. It protects you from making a lot of the poor decisions that people that younger people probably make, right? So I know that when I was in my first unit, right, the first time that I had people under me, I had a couple of people with some financial issues. They did not fully understand how credit cards work, and they maxed out a lot of them and didn't have the money to pay them back. Okay? So my job as that leader was to call the credit card companies and set up payments with them. Right? I took that over so that he didn't have to pay the consequences for that. That's very common. So it does prevent maybe some of the lasting consequences because it's such a tight-knit organization.